right, with coronavirus currently happening and everyone kind of on this sort of self-quarantine house arrest, we've had to get creative in the way that we exercise. And exercise is a key component to staying both mentally and physically healthy, especially for those of us who are used to it. It adds structure, it adds routine to our day that reminds us of the way life used to be. And we're going to get back to that at some point. So to maintain that structure, that routine, and to make sure that we're getting those mental and physical health benefits, I've put together a couple of exercises, or a couple of workouts, sorry, to help you stay active and stay sane during this time, okay? One of those workouts is going to be a body weight workout, one will be a band-based workout, and one will be a dumbbell-based workout. So no matter who you are and what equipment you have access to, you're gonna have a workout that works for you. Now, when it comes to these workouts, it's likely that you may be too advanced for them to be challenging in the way that they're written. You may not have strong enough bands or heavy enough weights to make the exercises challenging, and I've built in protocols to make sure that even in those cases, if you're someone like me who's a little more of an advanced trainee, who's a little stronger, spent a few more years, I'm over a decade into training now, you can still get benefit from these workouts. They can still be challenging and still give you that stimulus that you need to keep making physical improvements, and like I said, getting the mental well-being that we all know, love, and deserve from our workouts. The dumbbell workout is going to be built in a pre-exhaustion fashion. So we're going to do one of those isolation movements, like a leg extension, working on the quads, followed by a compound movement like a squat or a lunge, where we work on not only the thighs but also the glutes, the hamstrings, and the lower body as a whole. And again, this is going to make that second exercise, where you may not have enough weight for a chest press or a squat to really challenge you, much more difficult by pre-exhausting some of the muscles that we'll be using in those squats, in those bench presses, and the rows. And what it's gonna do is make that compound exercise much more effective, because it's going to be more challenging, and it's not gonna be quite as easy as if you just did that exercise on its own. Okay, now if you have a ton of weight you can use and that's not an issue there, you can easily flip this around or separate these exercises as you see fit. But I'm going off the fact that most people probably only have a couple sets of dumbbells, or maybe an interchangeable set of dumbbells, or if you're like me, an adjustable set that only goes up to 50 per side. Okay, so that's how this workout is built. But again, if needed, flip the exercises, make it a little easier on yourself, and I'll also be talking about some optional additions that can make this a little bit more challenging if you're sick and twisted like me and need that. All right, the first group of exercises is going to be a chest fly followed by a chest press, and we're going to do it lying on the floor. If you have a bench, you can absolutely do it on that, and if you move it on a higher incline, it's going to be more challenging, and if you need an extra challenge, that's the way to go. If you'd like to add a little bit of a bit of difficulty or an extra challenge at this, go with a chest fly, a chest press, and then a push-up, okay? We're gonna do these for 30 seconds each. If you wanna make that a little harder, go 45, or at most, go 60. So it'll look like this. We're gonna be lying on our back with our feet flat on the ground like we're gonna do a sit-up. We're gonna press them over our chest, having the elbows, the upper arms just beneath the shoulder. We don't want them stacked over the shoulder. Elbows slightly bent, open up like you got wings and you're about to give somebody a big hug with them. Come down to the ground and then back up and squeeze them together, okay? You're gonna do that for the full 30, 45, or 60 seconds, and then you're gonna go into some chest presses, floor presses, like so, okay? We don't want the elbows to be in line with the shoulders when you're at the bottom. We want them to be tucked just beneath. We want to pull the shoulder blades down towards the hips. That's going to make this a much easier and safer exercise, right? And again, 30, 45, or 60 seconds. If you want that last little bit of challenge, flip over, squeeze your butt, squeeze your belly, and push it out. The next combo of exercises is going to be a dumbbell leg extension, finishing with a 10-second hold. a dumbbell goblet squat, and then if you need that optional burn, that kind of push endurance work, finish out with some body weight squats, okay? So you're gonna take your dumbbell. This one's probably a little bit heavy for me, but I'll show you with this anyways. Squeeze it in between your feet, like so, and all you're gonna do is extend up and back down. Extend up and back down. Now the idea would be the taller the seat, the better, because it's gonna allow your legs to bend even more. The further range of motion you have at the knee, the better. But if you're like me and you're relatively tall and all you can do is get that little lift off the ground, locking the legs out, that's just fine. So 30, 45, or 60 seconds, and then at the end, lock out at the top. Make sure those knees are pointed straight up. Grab onto the chair for a little extra help and squeeze through your core and hold for 10 seconds, feeling those quads burn. Then we'll get the chair out of the way. We're gonna grab our dumbbell in the goblet squat position, like so. I'm gonna squat down, come back up for 30, 45, or if you really want to challenge, 60 seconds. Set the weight down, and if you want to get that optional bonus in, all right, it's just body weight squats for the full 30, 45, or 60 seconds. Your third combo of exercise is going to move back to the upper body. So we're going upper body, lower body, lower body, so on and so forth. Okay, this is going to be a rear delt fly using dumbbells, a row using dumbbells, and if you want to add a little bit of challenge, you're going to finish those rows holding in that locked position, squeezing your back muscles as hard as you possibly can. Okay, so it's going to look like this. These weights are probably a little bit too heavy for the flies, but they're going to be nice and challenging for the rows. So you want to find a weight that's kind of in the middle. That should be a little heavier than you would normally use on your flies, a little lighter than you would normally use on your rows, so it makes both of those movements quite challenging. Okay, stand with them at your side, soften your knees, push your hips back, fold until you're almost parallel to the ground. And then all you're going to do is pull them straight apart and slightly back. Okay, getting those rear delt, the back of the shoulders, the upper back muscles firing for 30, 45, or 60 seconds. Holding that same position, squeezing your core. We're gonna row with a nice neutral grip, trying to get the lats activated as much as possible. Again, 30, 45, 60 seconds. And then we're gonna lock in at the top of one of those reps, squeezing our core, using every muscle in our back, our core, basically everything in our torso that we possibly can to keep these weights locked at our side. All right, make sure that throughout this, you're not feeling your lower back, you're keeping that core engaged, and you're using your glutes, pushing your hips back, flexing those hips to get into a good position. Okay, this next combo is a little bit difficult to set up, especially on the first movement. All right, it's gonna be a dumbbell leg curl, followed by a dumbbell glute bridge, and if you want, finish out with some body weight glute bridges or even a glute bridge hold. And again, 30, 45, 60 seconds, depending on your level of skill and difficulty that you are looking for, okay? So you're gonna get that. I don't even know if my dumbbells are gonna work for this. They're kind of funky, but you're gonna set it up so that you can lay down and squeeze it in between your feet like so, right? You wanna push your butt into the ground, pull your belly slightly off the ground, and make sure that our back is nice and flat. We don't want this big arch in our back. That's not gonna feel good. Squeeze your abs and then curl it up, all right? Nice, slow, and controlled on the way down, hold at the bottom, and then return. 30, 45, 60 seconds, whatever it may be that you choose to do, just make sure you're using good form. You should not feel that in your lower back at all. Then you're gonna take that same weight, flip over onto your back, okay? Place that weight into your hips comfortably, brace your abs, roll your pelvis up and off the ground. So think about taking your tail and tucking it up toward you, and then driving your heels down, squeezing, 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 and back. Squeezing, 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 and back. 30, 45, 60 seconds, you know the drill. And then if needed, you can either go through body weight, glute bridges, or just a nice long glute bridge hold. Both are awesome ways to get a little extra work through those glutes and really get a nice burn going. Your final upper body grouping is going to be dumbbell lateral raises, dumbbell shoulder presses, and then plank, push-up position, shoulder tap planks. Okay, so we're gonna grab those weights. Just like those rear delt flies, we wanna have a weight that's a little bit challenging for our lateral raises and a little bit light for our shoulder presses, which is gonna make it difficult for both, because by the time we get to those shoulder presses after doing the lateral raises, our shoulder's gonna be pretty burnt out, so it's gonna be hard to get through, okay? 30, 45, 60 seconds, slightly bend the elbows, little internal rotation, and pulling them out, okay? They're gonna move up, but we pull them out, and they move up as a result of that. Then we're gonna go right into our shoulder presses, okay? You can either have this overhand pronated grip or a neutral grip. This is typically more shoulder friendly, and then we're just gonna press up and back down. Press up, locking out, and back down, okay? The entire time, keeping our abs tight, keeping our glutes tight, and making sure that rib cage, pelvis are stacked over top of one another. Finally, if you need it, move down to the ground, wide base with the feet just outside hips, squeeze the core, squeeze the abs, tap shoulder, and continue on for the 30, 45, or 60 seconds, whatever you've chosen to do. The final grouping of exercises, it's going to be focusing on your lower body. It's going to be dumbbell calf raises, dumbbell lunges, and then if needed, body weight lunges. The calf raises, we're going to add a 10-second hold at the end, just like we did on those leg extensions. All right, so if you have a stair or something you can step on that's 4 to 8 inches off the ground, which will give you further range of motion on the way down, wonderful. If not, no worries, you can do it on flat ground. Grab those dumbbells, plant your feet. Everything should point forward as we do this, okay? Squeeze your core, brace through the lower body, locking those quads in, locking the knees in, and then drive up through the big toe as high as you can, standing like a ballerina, like a dancer, and back down, okay, for 30, 45, or 60 seconds. Make sure you're not rolling out with the feet. If you look, my heels start to shoot out. You want to think about driving your heels directly up and over your toes as you go through this. So that's exercise number 1. Then we get into lunges, like so. And you can either alternate lunges like I am for the full 30, 45, or 60 seconds, or get into your lunge stance, hit some lunges for half the time on one side, and then half the time on the other side. And then you need that extra little burn, especially in this last round. All you do is lunge it out for the 30, 45, or 60 seconds, all right? That's the dumbbell workout, okay? You can do this a couple times a week. I'm gonna have more coming, but for right now, this is gonna be plenty. You wanna do 3 to 5 sets of each grouping, get a nice burn going, work on some strength, work on some hypertrophy, and endurance all at the same time. So just because we're locked in our houses, just because we're kind of on this self-quarantine, doesn't mean you can't still work on your goals, still get stronger, still look better, feel better, all of that good stuff that we've been working on all year.